Luxury bag, exquisite artifacts, fine wines and liquors, a feathered dinosaur model. These are the gifts exchanged between the Chinese President Xi Jinping and his French counterpart Emmanuel Macron in Paris. Xi's state visit to France in early May marks the 60th anniversary of the establishment of China-France diplomatic ties. These gifts were well prepared and looked absolutely gorgeous. But none of them was as special to the two presidents as these printed ones.
La cathédrale qui a brûlé il y a maintenant.
友谊源于交流。
From the French perspective, Xi is a huge fan of the French writer Victor Hugo, as he has been found quoting Hugo on several occasions.
The French writer Victor Hugo once observed,
雨果说，比天空更宽阔的是人的胸怀。
9 years ago, Xi received a bronze statue of Hugo from the former French president François Hollande. It was quite a delightful gift for this huge fan, and this time Xi received a rare 1856 edition of Hugo's Les Contemplations.
La cathédrale qui a brûlé il y a maintenant 5 ans.
About 200 years ago in Europe, with the Eurocentrism on the rise and the chinoiserie fading away, Hugo, however, held appreciation and admiration for China and the Chinese culture. The recurrent image of vase de Chine in his works, in both literary and figurative sense, expressed his lamentations over broken pieces of fine art, as well as his sympathies towards the war-ravaged Chinese civilization. Today, the relationship between China and France is an epitome of mutual respect in all aspects. 2019 was a sad year for France when a fire ravaged the Notre-Dame Cathedral in Paris, leaving its entire wooden roof structure heavily damaged.
Notre-Dame Cathedral in Paris is completely engulfed by
The
fire.
roof structure has been lost.
Many Chinese people expressed their sorrows and regrets over the loss, and their hope that China and France work together one day to restore the cathedral. 5 years later, the Emperor Qin Shi Huang's Mausoleum Site Museum in China, the co-researcher of the terracotta soldiers, announced it'll take part in the restoration of Notre Dame. The museum is expected to make use of China's rich experience in wooden architectural restoration to preserve this 1,000-year-old treasure. On the other hand, Hugo's Les Contemplations was not the first old book Macron gave to Xi. Back in 2019, when the two met in Nice, Macron presented Xi with a 1688 original copy of Confucius, or The Science of the Princes, in French. He told Xi that the early translations of the Analects of Confucius even inspired Montesquieu and Voltaire, who conveyed these spirits into the Enlightenment in France. In these texts, Voltaire discovered the value of freedom and then used it to argue against the ideological confinement of the Catholic Church at the time. From the other side, the ideas of the French Revolution influenced China.
Entre le président Chirac et le président Jiang Zemin.
In May 1997, during President Jacques Chirac's visit to China, he presented then-President Jiang Zemin with a work card from 1921. This card belonged to the 16-year-old Deng Xiaoping, who was working at the Schneider steel factory during a work-study period in France and would one day lead China through its process of reform and opening up. In France, Deng actively made friends with revolutionaries and absorbed progressive ideas. Before and after Deng Xiaoping, numerous modern Chinese revolutionaries were doing the same. Just before President Xi set off for France, China launched the Chang'e 6 lunar probe equipped with a French-made instrument called DORN, Detection of Outgassing Radon. This was one more project of collaboration in space exploration between China and France, continuing the partnership that began in the 1990s. Last year, Macron was gifted a 1.5-gram sample of lunar soil brought back by the Chang'e 5. This year, as Paris is going to host the Olympics, Olympic torches from Beijing and Paris were also included in the gift list. In addition, she personally selected a list of books featuring Chinese translations of French classics, such as Flaubert's Madame Bovary, Stendhal's The Red and the Black, and Balzac's Father Goriot. There's a saying in France, Chinese people are the French in the East, and the French people are the Chinese in Europe. China and France are representatives of the Eastern and Western civilizations, respectively. There's a natural affinity between the two cultures. The exchange of national gifts vividly reflects the mutual respect and admiration flowing for hundreds of years.